Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir. Okay, good. So good afternoon to all of you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon,
Okay.
sir.
Yeah. Good afternoon to all. Let's start with the last time we have seen what is the defect, right? And what are the components are there in the defect report. So let's try to understand what is the severity and the priority. So severity is nothing but how serious is the defect is all about, right? So there are some severities, right? Numbering, you can check the numbering. That is a 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the numbering are there for the severities, or the description is like that. We will get it sometimes like showstopper, high, medium, and low. Okay. So these are the descriptions are there. So if you check it out, the number one, which is a showstopper, is nothing but it is very high. It's urgent. Okay, it's very high. It's urgent. Then there is a something called as the second one is high. Then the third one is medium, and the fourth one is low. Okay. Now let's try to understand what is mean by this. The severities. Say for example, for the showstopper, say for example, you have already installed one software application, and that application is not going to be launched itself. Okay, you are trying to click on it, and still it is not getting open. Okay, and that is what it is called as. It's very serious. Means it's very showstopper basically. That we can say that it's showstopper. Right. So even if you are trying to install it, one software, and you are trying to uninstall it, whatever it is, right? At the time of installation, you are not able to install it, that application. So that is a very serious problem, right? We can call this as a severity is very high. It's urgent, right? No workaround is available, right? No workaround is available. Say for example, I'm trying to launch, say, Notepad. Okay, there is a shortcut on the desktop notepad, and I'm trying to launch that notepad. Okay, I'm trying to double click on it. Still, I'm not able to launch that notepad. So I have to go to the menu, right? Then the start, and then I'm going to search for this notepad and trying to open it. That is a workaround. Or either I can go to that, the notepad where the exe is getting located, and I'm trying to open that notepad. That is another workaround. Okay, so this is what it is called as a workaround. No workaround is available means, right? There is no alternative at all. There is no alternative at all. Data corruption is an example of showstopper. Say, for example, now you are running some script, and suddenly your system get crash. Okay, you are doing some in the particular transaction. Okay, particular transaction. Observe it very carefully, and at that certain point that the system get crash. Okay, then we can say that it is showstopper. It's very urgent, right? So these are the example of showstopper thing. Then when we talk about the high, workaround is available. So now what is mean by the workaround? Right, say for example, I said that there is a notepad which is on the desktop, that the shortcut is there on the desktop, and I'm trying to launch that using a shortcut, but that the shortcut through it is not getting open. Then I can go with the start menu, and then I will check the notepad, and I'm trying to open it. It is getting open. But if I create a shortcut, it is not getting open. See, okay, right? Just an example. So we can say that it's high. The serious or the severity is high. Okay. Function is not working according to the specification. Say login window is set, right? Login window is basically used for the credentials, for the authentication, right? The authenticated person only can be able to log in. But if I try to log in, click on the OK button, I am able to log in. Or if I enter XYZ something which is not a registered user, still I am able to log in. Example, just example. So we can give that it is in the high. Okay, right, it's high. Okay, when I try to click on the cancel button, that the login window should get cancelled or closed. But it is not getting closed at all. That is the second example. Okay, what I'm trying to do is there is a login window, right? And I'm trying to close that login window thing, right? Clicking on the cancel button, but still We are not able to cancel it, right? And this is what the severity is very, no, it's high. Severity is high. Okay. Then the severity medium. Medium is nothing but incorrect messages, incorrect data, right? And the noticeable performance inefficiencies. Like you will find that when you try to launch the notepad, it will take a little bit of time. Generally, if you try to launch a notepad, it will open it within the, say, I can say that within a 5 seconds or within a 2 seconds, it will get open or it will get launched. But at a certain the point or a certain level, if you check it out, it will take little bit of time that the notepad is getting open, right? Then you can say that it is noticeable performance inefficiencies. Okay, next example is you are trying to log in into the Gmail account. You entered username, you entered password and click on the login button. Still that the inbox is getting open, right? So it will take little bit of time. So you will say that no, today's the server might be it's having heavy load or something like that. So that is why it is not getting responded, or our net connection might be the slow or something like that. That you conclude on it. So that is what it is called as a medium. Then we can give the severity. It is medium. Now, what is the low? Low is nothing but misspelling, grammatical mistakes, right? Enhancement requests or cosmetic faults, right? Flaws. So cosmetic flaws is nothing but like the say if I give a color, the say color combination is like fluorescent color, you know, and that is what it is called as a cosmetic issue, right? And the font size is very less, or the size is very low, right? You can read it. You have to use a spec, and then you can read it. Okay, might be there, some sites are there like that, so you should just zoom it, and then you can read that okay, these are the contents are there, right? Then and then only it's visible, otherwise not. So that is what these comes under the very low. Okay, we can call this as a severity is very low. It's low. So misspelling, grammatical mistakes, right? Cosmetic issues. Okay, enhancement request. Now what is mean by the enhancement request? Enhancement request is nothing but okay, there is a something and you want to add something, or you want to modify that existing functionality, and you are going to send a enhancement request to the developers. So it is not a bug. Say for example, now you can find out that the particular font size is it's a 10 this thing pixels, okay, and you want to make it it's a 12 pixel size or something like that, right? You want to increase it the font size. So you can send an enhancement request that okay, this font size is little bit the small, you can just increase a little bit of that. And that is what it is called as an enhancement request. It's not what it is called as, it's not a defect. Basically it's not a defect. Okay. And this is all about the severity. Everybody has understood what is mean by severity.
Yes.
Okay, showstopper, high, medium, and low. Correct. So let's understand what is a priority. How to decide priority. Okay, so the priority again 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Showstopper, high, medium, and low. So when to when to fix when it is a showstopper. So we should immediately fix, block for the testing, and it's very clear. It's very visible, right? So if that the particular application is not getting open itself, so you are going to say that okay, first resolve that given the particular error, right? It's very urgent. Okay, and that is what it is called as a showstopper. The priority goes to the very important, right? Immediate fix. Okay. Then the high. High is nothing but you should must fix before the product is released. Must fix before the product is released. So that is for the high. But for the medium is yes, should fix if time permits. Okay, you can see that when we give the medium, the priority. What is mean by the medium? Medium is nothing but okay. Yes, we should fix it if the time is in the permits. Okay, and that is what it is a medium. Then what about the low? Yeah, so the spelling mistakes are there or something, the grammatical mistakes. Then would like to fix but we can release it as it is. Okay, right? In the next release, we should fix it. It's not like that. In the current release, we should fix it. Okay, so if the time permits, if the developers are okay, then they can fix that bug. Okay, otherwise they will fix it in the next release. Okay, and that is what it is called as a low. So these are called as a how to decide the priority. Priority is nothing but when to fix. Remember. Okay, so the priority is nothing but when to fix. Clear, team?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
So just go through this once. Just read it, yourself. I will give you 5 minutes. Just go through it. So what is showstopper, high, medium, the low, right? Try to understand what is meant by the showstopper. If the operating system freezes, your system gets hang. Okay, you are doing something, means you are dealing with the application, and at that time, the same time that the operating system freezes or your system getting restarted, then we should give that is a showstopper. Okay, no workaround is available, means I'm trying to open it that application for many ways, but we are not getting any workaround to open that particular application. So it's go ahead. So severity is nothing but the impact on the application. Okay, now next is priority. When to fix. Okay, now the next is the report bugs as soon as possible, team, right? So when you find any bug, you should report it immediately. And the fixing of that bug, that the cost is very low. And if it is a serious bug and you found out at the project end, the cost of that, the fixing that bug is on the higher side. Okay, this is what it is called as a likelihood of a bug being fixed, right? And this is a time frame, project start and project end. Okay, all right, so report bugs as soon as possible. When you find the bug, you should report it. So the fixing that bug, cost is there, cost is getting involved in, right? Developers are spending some time to fix that bug, so obviously it is getting calculated, so that's why we should submit that bugs as soon as possible. Okay, now let's try to understand bug life cycle. Note it down, which is also called as a defect life cycle. Bug life cycle or defect life cycle. Note it down. Okay. So let me just explain you first. Understand this. What is bug life cycle or defect life cycle? Okay. I'm telling you a very generic approach, or I can say that the straightforward approach. Okay. Generally, it doesn't happen in the industry, but let's try to understand. You are a tester, okay, and you find the bug, correct? So this is a new bug, correct? So the status goes to the new. You find the bug, correct? And it is assigned to the developers. Okay, very easy, simple. See, you are a tester, you find this bug, which is assigned to the developers, right? So the developers are going to open that bug. Status goes to open. Now you can see that the status, yesterday I was discussing about the status, right? So the status, the first, as a tester, you submitted a bug. The status was new. When it is assigned to the developers and the developers are going to open, open, open. So that is what the status goes to open state, the right. Then when it is open, okay, they will try to resolve that bug. Okay, the developers are going to fix that bug, right? So they are going to write it down the code. They are trying to make the changes into that code and they will try to resolve that bug. So the status goes to the resolve state. The status goes to the resolve state team. Resolve. Okay. Then once it is get resolved team, it is again assigned to the testers that the bug has been fixed by the developers. And as a testers, we are going to re-verify it or confirm it whether that the bug has been fixed by the developers or not, which is also called as a retesting. Correct? Retesting. So it is again assigned to the testers, right? Once it gets resolved, then it is assigned to the testers. Hey, testers, see, I resolved this bug. Can you please confirm it from your end, whether it has been resolved or not? Okay, so that is what reconfirmation, retesting is done by the testers. And if it is gets resolved completely, then we can get the status to the close. Okay, see how it is very simple in the life cycle. Correct. What is this? The bug is found by the testers, which is in the new state. Correct. Then it is assigned to the developers. Developers are going to open that bug. Okay. Developers are open. They try to resolve that bug. Once it gets resolved, again assign it to the testers. Hey, testers, now check. So again, reconfirmation, retesting is done by the testers and they will check whether the bug is resolved or not. If the bug is resolved, then the status goes to the close. If it is not resolved, the status goes to the reopen state team. It will go to the reopen. It has been not resolved, right? So it will, the come to this, the reopen state. Okay. Now, if you check it out, this entire life cycle shows you, it's a very smooth process. I can say that it's very, the simple and smooth. There is nothing is there, no obstacles, nothing is there. Okay, we don't have to bother about it, anything else. Just simply submitting and finish it off. Yeah, very good. Right. But generally, it doesn't happen like this. What we should do now? Let's see. Understand it, complete life cycle. Okay. So the complete life cycle is like this. So once you submit a bug, right? Say Vinith has submitted a one bug, myself has submitted a same bug, which becomes the duplicate bug. Try to understand the. Okay. Yes. It is again a duplicate bug, right? So I submitted that the Vinith has already been submitted. So I don't know whether the Vinith has submitted that bug or not. I found that and I submitted that blankly. So that becomes the duplicate bug. Try to understand. Okay. Then the Venkat has also found some bug. He also submitted, but he don't know whether that the bug is genuine bug or not. So he also submitted that bug. So if you check it out, how many testers I can submit, the how many bugs, n number of bugs we can submit it in the day wise. So we should come to know whether which bug is genuine bug. And that's why we have to take a review meeting. Okay, we should take a review meeting of that. Okay, so it will take a review meeting. And developers, testers, everybody is getting involved. They will check whether the bug is genuine bug, whether the bug is not duplicate bug. Correct. If it is duplicate, then it will go to the closed state. If it is not a genuine bug, it will go to the closed state. If it is the review is done after review, then and then only the status goes to the open and the developers are trying to resolve that bug. If it is duplicate, then it will delete it. It will, the close it directly. Right. So it's like that. If it is a genuine bug, then and then only it will, the open it. Otherwise, no till. But in some cases, yes, this is a genuine bug, but we want to fix it in the next release, not in the current release cycle. Okay, I want to fix this bug, but into the current release, not into the current release, but into the next cycle. Okay, then I can say that the postpone. Okay, the status goes to the postpone, and that again it will reopen it. Dotted line shows that reopen it in the next release cycle. Okay, even the close is there, right? That the bug is closed, right? So that the bug closed. Yes, team. So this is a closed bug, right? This closed bug is again going to reopen it for the regression testing purpose. Yeah, correct. In the next release also, whatever the closed bugs are there, that also we should the test it. Correct. We should execute it again, and this is what it is called as a regression testing. And then okay, developer is resolved that bug. Tester found that that has not been resolved. It should get reopened step, and this is what it is called as a reopen. This is called as a reopen step. Everyone is clear about it? See this? All of you are getting this point?
Can you repeat that review topic, sir?
Review topic. Okay.
Yes.
See, review when it is getting done basically. So once you submit all these bugs, okay, then once you submit it, it's in a new state itself. Okay, right? Then we can take a review meeting. Review meeting is done by the developers, testers. Okay, if the stakeholders, anybody is there, then they will take a review. They will ask you, hey Vinith, why you are setting the severity is high? How you are setting severities priority is high? On which basis you are setting this? So you should give the proper the justification for that. Okay, I did this for this for this. Okay, hey, this is not a genuine bug. Why you submitted this bug? Okay, it's not a genuine bug. Everyone has decided that this is not a genuine bug. Then it will get to the close state now. If it is a the bug, but we want to fix it in the next release, then it will go to the postpone. Okay, then it will go into the postpone stage. Okay, now everything is okay, right? All the bugs are genuine bugs. Now it is going to be change the status to the open, new to open, new to open. And then after this open, then it will be assign it to the developers. Developers open this bug, they will resolve it, and again it is assigned to the testers. Testers will check again, reconfirm it, and then the status goes to the close. This is the entire testing bug life cycle. Okay, bug is found by the testers, status is new, then it is open. So it will take a review by whom? By the developers, by the testers. In that review meeting, what it will decide, whether that the bugs are not duplicate bugs, whether it is the what it is called as a redundant bug, unnecessary bug, which are not bug at all. Correct, then it will go to the status to the close. If it is a bug, but it should fix it in the next release, then it will go to this postpone stage. Clear, team, now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, right, fine. So this is about in the bug life cycle or defect life cycle. Fine. Remember this, team, and using a Jira tool, we are trying to get into this. Okay, practically, we are trying to understand it. This. Okay, now what is a test plan basically and how it looks like? Okay, what is the test plan? What are the objectives are there for the test plan? anything, whatever you want to do, before going to do, you should get into the plan, and that is what it is, a test plan. So to identify the items that are subject to testing, right? So you are going to find out the items to be testable. You are going to list out the items or the modules that is going to be tested. This is the first objective. The second objective is, the to communicate at a high level the extent of testing. Everybody should know that, okay, what are the things that we are going to do in the testing activity, whether we are going with the manual testing, whether we are going with the automation testing, which strategy, what are the different methods, what are the different, the tools that we are going to use it. So it should get communicate clear. And the schedule part also, right? Okay, I have to do this unit testing from date and from to date. Okay, I should get it that also. So that is what, the proper communication should get happen through this, the test plan. Then we should know what are the different roles and the responsibilities are there, right? Say, as a junior test engineer, what are my responsibilities are there? As a test engineer, what are my responsibilities are there? As a senior test engineer, what are my, the responsibilities are there? Correct. As a test lead, what are the responsibilities are there? Or a test manager, what are the responsibilities are there? So everything is getting documented. Then to provide the accurate estimation of the efforts, right, required to complete the define in the plan, right? So accurate estimation is nothing but, yes, when to finish. Correct. We should know that when to stop this testing activity. Okay, so you should get the accurate time period. Okay, within that 10 days we will finish this testing activity, whatever it is. Okay, right. And you should define the, the infrastructure. So infrastructure is nothing but the hardware kind of, then the, the support which is getting from the back office and all. So everything, from the IT support team. Okay, right. So these are the different, objectives are there. Now, what are the test plan outline? Understand this test plan outline thing, very important, and you people also note it down. Okay, so I'm talking about the IEEE test plan. It is a IEEE 829 documentation test plan. Okay, and these are the contents of that test plan. What are the content in the test plan? So test plan, it is a document, right? It is a document. Then how to test, what to test, by whom to test, right? Everything comes under this document. So this is what in the test plan is. Now what it contains, test plan. So that is a test plan identifier, unique identifier. Test plan, it is a unique identifier. So let's take an example. Okay, let's take an example that you are doing, so the test plan identifier, you are doing a login window. Then we can give, the TP. TP stands for test plan underscore login window, and then the version. Version is 1.1 or 1.0, right? So we give this version 1.0. So the test plan ID is now it's TP underscore login and then version 1.0, right? Then the next is introduction. Introduction is nothing but that is a brief idea about the login project. You should tell that the login project, what exactly this login window is for. So you have to give a brief idea about that in the window or the project. Then the third one, test items. Okay, the test item is nothing but list out all the testable items, modules, or the features. Okay, you should list out all the testable items, modules, or the features. Now let's take an example of, the MS Office. Out of this MS Office, you are going to test, the MS Word, MS presentation, PPT, correct, and then MS, the Excel. But you are not going to focus on MS Outlook. Okay, you are not going to focus on that MS Outlook. So this is what you should, list out all these testable items first. Then the next is in the features to be tested. Now in the MS Word, which feature you are going to be tested? Cut, copy, paste. Okay, right? That is what I am going to be tested. Print. Okay, if I give the print command, then it should go for the printing. So that also, I'm going to be tested. So this is what you have to list out all the features that is going to be tested. Okay, right? Note it down. If you want to note it down the particular point also, you people can just note it down, keep it for your reference. Okay, excuse me. Now next is features not to be tested. Okay, features not to be tested. That is, you have to list out the items which is not going to be tested. And you should give the reason. Very important. Okay, if you're not telling that, okay, this is the XYZ feature, we are not going to be tested, right? Or the print command is there, print method. Okay, that is not going to be tested right now, but yes, we are going to be tested in the next release. Okay, in the future, we are going to be tested that one. But in the current release, it's not so important. Okay, we are going to keep it as it is. So that's why we are not going to test that. So you should list out the items and you should give the reason why you are not going to test these items. Everyone is clear about this 5 points team. Understand this 5 point. Any questions, any doubt for this 5 points team? Hey, you people should speak.
No, sir.
No, fine. Then the next is called as item or item pass or fail criteria. Okay, when you are going to say that the particular test case is passed or when you are going to say that the particular test case is failed. Correct. When you are going to say that if the criteria is getting matched, then and then only you are going to say that it is pass. Otherwise, it is fail. Right? So if expected with actual result is gets match. Okay, if expected with actual result is getting matched, then we can say that it is pass, otherwise it is fail. Okay, now the seventh point is approach. Approach is nothing but the strategy. Okay, whether you are following with the manual testing, whether you are following with the automation testing. Okay, this is called as a strategy. Understand this. Okay, and we can call this as a approach, the keywords generally we call as a test strategy document. We can attach it separately. The test strategy document is different team. Okay, that we can attach it separately. So it mentions that like, okay, this is a manual testing, this is an automation testing, right? Then manual testing, what is in the approach? Whether you follow the white box methods, black box methods, right? Boundary value analysis, equivalence partitioning, then error guessing, what are this, the state transition diagram, what are the things you follow, correct? So that is the one thing. So we have to list out all this, the methods in this approach. Next is called as a suspension and resumption criteria. So what is the meaning of suspension and resumption? Resume. What is mean by the suspend and what is mean by the resume?
Suspension means pressuring. Resume means releasing the pressure.
Okay. Or we can say that the stop and start.
Yes.
Okay. Right. So suspension and resumption criteria is nothing but when to stop testing activity and when to start testing activity or when to resume it. Resume is nothing but restart actually. Okay, say for example, there is a login window. Try to understand that. If you want to note it down, you can note it down. I'm repeating again and again. Okay, for this resumption and suspension criteria. Okay, so there is a login window and I'm trying to open that login window. It is not getting open at all. I entered valid username, I entered valid password, click on login button, right, or the submit button. Still, I'm not able to log in. And then I'm going to say that I'm suspend. I will stop testing activity. Once you resolve this error, or when you fix this bug, right, or a problem, then we will resume it. Okay. So if it is working, that the login window is working, then we can start the testing activity again. And this is what it is called as a resumption criteria. Okay, resumption criteria. We can say that yes, we can resume it now. It's working fine. Let's start the testing activity again. And this is what it is called as a resumption criteria. Okay. Now the test deliverables. Okay, what is meant by the test deliverables? All documents. We can submit it to the client. Okay. So all documents, example like test plan, test cases, defect report, system requirement specification doc, etc. All these documents, which is called as a deliverables, right? We are submitting to the client. So that is called as a test deliverables. Environmental needs is nothing but the hardware and the software environment. Okay, which operating system you are using, whether it is a Windows 10 operating system or Windows 11, whatever it is, right? Whether it is a Linux operating system, and what is the configuration of the system, whether it is a Core i5, Core i7 with the processor, or RAM and hard disk, whatever it is. So this is what it is called as the environment need. Then the next is called as a staffing and training needs. You know that this is a long-term project and we need a training on the automation, right? So you are going to note it down that okay, we need in the next quarter, might be we need a training for this the automation tool. So you should mention that. Okay, then you should mention that. Then the staffing is nothing but the resources which is required. Okay, you know that in the next quarter we will move to the automation, so you should have some the automation expertise, right, as a resource. So you are going to mention this. Okay, in the next quarter I require this the particular staff. Okay, right, I need a fresher. So anything whatever the requirement is there, I'm going to just say that okay, in the next quarter or in the next quarter, right, I require this stuff. And if the training is required, I have to mention which tool you are going to take a training. Okay, how many days it would be, how many participants would be, etc, etc. That is a tentative plan kind of a thing, right? Okay. Then the role and the responsibility. So you should list out the roles. Like now, you are a tester. Okay. So the testers have some responsibilities like design the test cases, execute the test cases, submit a defect report, right? Then if you go at a higher level, right, like a senior test engineers or the test lead, then you are going to manage to the team members. You are going to take a review of their the test cases and all. Then you are going to prepare a test plan if you are a test lead, right, that position. So these are the responsibilities comes into the picture. So you are going to write it down, the role and the responsibilities. Then the scheduling, for example, now you can see that there is a unit testing. You should write it down, the start date and the end date. Okay. Then there is something called as a integration testing. What is the start date? What is the end date? Functional testing. What is the start date? What is the end date? UAT, user acceptance testing. What is the start date? What is the end date for UAT? So everything, if you check it out, everything is mentioned, right? Okay. Then next is called as a risk and contingencies. Risk and contingencies is nothing but what is the risk is involved into the project. Is there any solution for that? For example, understand the examples as well. That the particular application is there and it only runs on the particular environment. There is a specific environment should be required. Then and then only it will execute, it will run, otherwise it won't run. Say for example that the particular application is working on Ubuntu, only Ubuntu. It is getting supported for the Mac only. Example, okay. So you should get the Mac environment ready, not Windows environment ready. Okay. So that kind of a risk, right? So again, the expertise, we have seen the technologies risk, right? The product risk. So many types of the risk are there, right? And you should find out the solution. Yes, I have the alternative resource for this in the particular expertise, right? Yes, Vinith is already there. He's on the bench, so we have some kind of a backup, right? So that is what the risk and contingencies. And the finally we will get it an approval. Approval is nothing but it's a sign off, or we can call this as a test manager's signature. Test lead signature and test manager signature. They will take a review of the test plan and they will freeze that test plan. Okay, that is called as a sign off the test plan. Okay, team. So this is all about the test plan. Do you have any question?
So once you repeat that staffing and training.
Okay, staffing and training, right. Now see, this is a project. For example, you are working on XYZ project, okay, or you are working on an insurance domain project, and you need some kind of expertise, in the next quarter or something that we are planning to get into that, right? We require some GDs, okay, or the freshers, might be even the experienced people, right? So you should mention that, okay, you need two freshers, you need one expertise or the experienced people. So you should mention that, the details over there. And then training needs means, okay, uh, in the next level, if I go for the next quarter, I might go with the automation. So I required a training for the Selenium. So that my resources should train into the Selenium. Okay. So you should mention everything, in the test plan. Correct. Getting my point. So this is called as a training needs.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Now what you people have to do it, you know. So this is an assignment for you that you should try to download a test plan template from the Google, right? And you have to prepare one test plan, okay, sample test plan. And Monday you have to show me. The last date for this is it's Monday. So on Monday's date is I think 11th. So today is 6th, right? You have 7, 8, right? Then the 9, 10, and then 11th you should submit this test plan, and you people have to show me that, oh, I prepared this, the test plan on this, the particular, say, browser is there. You prepared on the Amazon. So whatever it is, right? So you can try to prepare it on that particular, the application. Test plan should be prepared. Okay, so let me just share this with you. You can try to prepare a test plan. So this is an assignment, remember, team. Okay, and once it is get done, so please let me know that you people have done this. Okay, now let's move to the next. Right. Staffing training means schedule risk and contingencies is approval is also done. So this is all about the test plan. Everybody is clear about the test plan, team?
Sir,
Understood?
once explain about risk and contagious.
Okay. Risk. The risk is getting involved, right? So which type of the risk is getting involved, right? Maybe resources risk. For example, okay, in project you plan that you are getting into the automation and you won't be able to find out the automation expertise. That is one kind of a risk. Then another risk is, say for example, you are 5 team members working on the same project, and one resource get you know on the leave, the other is left. Now your 3 resources are remaining. How you are going to handle that kind of a load? That is again a risk. Okay, right. Then environment, on which platform you want to run this, and the environment is still not ready. Okay, I want to run my application on the Amazon Web Service on the cloud, and that the particular the server is not ready for the testing purpose, and it should get started today onwards. Still, there is a status that we don't have the ready environment for the testing activity. How could you start it? That is what the risk. But there should be a contingencies are nothing but the solution, that you should get ready with this blah 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 things. Okay, the resources are backup, etc etc. Clear?
Sir, once explain about item pass or fail criteria.
Okay, now you can tell me. You are doing engineering. Okay, is there any criteria when you give the exam? How you are going to say that it is pass or a fail? You are fail or pass?
There is a minimum marks given to pass.
Yes, exactly. Right, there is a minimum marks or something like that. So the same way here, if it meets in the expected with actual result, then we can say that it is pass. Otherwise, it's fail. If the expected and actual result is mismatch, then we can say that it is fail. Okay.
Yes,
And
sir.
yeah, and if it is both are the match, then we can say that it is pass.
Yes, sir. And suspension and resumption criteria can.
Suspend, just I explained, right? The suspend is nothing but when you are going to say that I am going to stop it. If you are not getting something to do something, very simple, right? If you don't have the laptop, are you going to able to attend the training?
No.
Stop, finish, right? When you are going to resolve it, means resume it. If you get a laptop, correct?
Yes.
So if you get the laptop, then you are going to resume it. So that is the same thing here. Suspension and resumption criteria is nothing but say that the particular login window itself is not working, right? I'm trying to log in, still I'm not able to log in into that application. Then what is the use of that? So I will stop. I will say that no, I'm not going to test it. The basic functionality is not working. Once it gets resolved, then I can resume my testing activity. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So everything is clear now. Check team.
So staffing and training needs.
Just now I explained. Just now. Where you was. Just I explained. You can check the recorded session. It will get clear. Staffing and training rate. Anybody can help him? Explain him what is mean by the staffing and training needs.
If we get a project,
Hmm.
then definitely we need some staff for that.
Correct. Yes.
At the
Good.
same time, we try to train them.
Correct.
So in that case, this is important for us, staffing and training.
Right. Even in the future also, right? In the next quarter or something, it is a big project, right? For 1 year project, might be 2 year project, right? So in the next quarter also, you might require some the new staff members or the new resources, correct? And then the training, like, okay, I want to go with the automation tool. So we should get it trained into that automation, right? Say for example, now you people have done already, say, manual testing. Okay. And if I ask you, hey team, Now tomorrow you have to start with the automation, the testing directly. Are you going to able to do it?
No, sir.
No. Okay. So we should first get trained into that. Then and then only we are able to do this, the automation. Correct. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Correct. So this is what it is called as, the stuffing and training needs. Okay, everybody has noted down.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes,
even
sir.
if you go to the Google and if you type it out IEEE 829 test plan, you will get the template thing. In detail template, in detail, right? Everything, all the descriptions and everything, you will get it. Okay, and you can try to prepare it your own test plan. You can take any application. You want to go with the Orange HRM application, you can go with the Orange HRM. If the Amazon is not getting open, then I think you can go with that Orange HRM application and then try to uh, prepare a test plan for that. Okay, clear?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can go with this application, Orange HRM. Yesterday I have shown you. So let me just open it. There are so many testings applications are ready, but let's go with this. This is what the Orange HRM demo. Let me just share this URL. I think yesterday I have shared this URL, right?
Yeah, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, right. So you can just go through this application and write it down the test plan. There are so many modules are there. Let me just go through these modules. Okay, now see, account is disabled. Okay, so for some time, actually 10 to 15 minutes after that, again we will try to get into this, and then we will check what are the different models are there. See, I'm trying to log in, but it is not getting logged in. So it happens sometimes, don't worry about it. Okay, it is an open source. So okay, again you can see that account is disabled, no problem. So after 15 minutes, again we will try it and we will check. Clear, team? Everyone is clear?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now the next is we will move to the test cases. How to write it down the test cases, what is a test case is all about. Right, we were talking about so many days that the test case, test case, test case. Right, so what exactly the test case? So we should start with the practical approach. So we have to prepare one, the Excel sheet. Let me just open you quickly this Excel sheet. Okay, there is some application, there is a sample application. We are assuming this is a login window. We are going to write it down the test cases for login window. Okay, this is your login window team, and you can see the requirement of the login window. Oh, once again. Oh, you people can see this login window, right? And we have a requirements. User name contains 4 to 8 alpha characters. It should accept 4 to 8 alpha character. Password field, it should accept 4 to 8 characters, means alpha is allowed, numeric is allowed, any other character rather than the alpha is allowed. Then the OK button is there and the cancel button. Okay, on this particular window, we are going to write it down the test cases. Okay, we are going to write it down the test cases. Now let's try to understand the template first, and then we will move to this test cases, how to write it down the test cases and all about. So I am trying to explain you that it's a IEEE test case format, and this test case format may vary company to company. It's not fixed. Okay, right? It's a customizable. So every time you people will get it this one, it's not like that, but you will get it here and there somewhat. Okay, so try to understand the template. So this is IEEE test case template, right? I just fix this snapshot over here. That is a login window. For this login window, we are going to write it down the test cases. I will explain you. Then the next is, there is a something called as a project name. Project name is nothing but it is a login window. Okay. Then the version is nothing but that is a 1.0, whatever it is, you can give that version. Okay. Then the next is start date. When you are going to start it, say today you are going to start it. So you should write it down the today's date, right? Then prepared by whom, your name, prepared by your name, reviewed by my name or your the colleague name who is going to the review it. Okay, so this is prepared by your name and this is prepared by your test lead or in the test manager's name. Then the next is called as a prerequisite. Prerequisite is nothing but the precondition. Okay, precondition. So what is a precondition? That the login window should be launched and by default OK button should be disabled. So when I enter username and the password, then and then only this OK button should get enabled. Okay, so this is my prerequisite. What is my prerequisite? That the application should be launched. So I don't need to write it down in the step team. I don't need to write it down in the step that in the launch login window application. Launch login window application. For each and every step, I have to go and write it down like that. So instead of that, you have to tell this is a prerequisite. Login window is already launched or it should be launched, right? And by default, OK button should be, it's a disabled. Remember team, OK button should be, it's disabled. When I enter username and the password, then it should become enabled. Everyone is getting this point up to now?
Yes, sir.
So, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's great. Okay, Deep. Now let's try to understand the template. What it contains. So it contains a test case ID. So the test case ID, it is a unique ID or unique identifier, and we can give the prefixes TC. TC stands for test case. TC stands for it's a test case. That I will explain later on. Let's try to understand the test case ID. So the test case ID is a unique ID. Then the test case name, what are the fields are there, like username field. Then what is another requirement, password field. So these are called as a test cases name. Okay, the password field. Then the next is called as OK button. Then there is next called as a cancel button. So these are called as the test case name. Okay, these are called as a test cases name. Then the next is an objective. Objective is nothing but the goal that you are going to be test. Okay, what you are going to test, right? We use a keyword called as a to verify. Very important, the way of writing. Okay, we use a keyword called as a to verify or to check. To verify or to check, either or. To verify, username field accepts 4 to 8 alpha character, right? So this is what the alpha character, 4 to 8 alpha character, right? So for the username field, for the username field, 4 to 8 alpha characters. Now what are the steps? This login window is already launched. Perfectly right. Then what I have to do? I have to enter username. We are validating your username. Then enter valid password. Very important is valid password. Okay, you don't have to enter invalid password, right? We are checking username field. So for password, we should enter a valid password. Click on OK button. Now, what is a test data? Test data is nothing but the sample data that generally we use, right? So what I'm going to enter for this username field, Nilesh. So username equals to Nilesh. If it is a text field, then the data should come. If it is a button, it is not applicable. If you go and check it out, for the button, OK button, it is not applicable. For the cancel button, it is not applicable. Test data is not there. Okay, it's button, it's not a text field. So that's why it is empty, nothing. Then the result column. Result content expected and actual result. Okay, then the log is nothing but pass or a fail. This is what it is called as a log. Then the bug ID and then the remark. Remark is nothing but the suggestion. If you have any kind of suggestion, then this is called as a remark. Okay, so this is all about the IEEE test case format. Okay, so the project name, version, start date, end date, right? If you want to add the end date, you can add the end date. Okay, then the next is prepared by whom and reviewed by whom. Okay, then the test case ID, test case name, right? The objective, then the steps of the procedure, test data, then the result, log, bug ID, and the remark. So you people are going to prepare this Excel sheet. So you can take a snapshot of this Excel sheet, team. You can take a snapshot of this Excel sheet. So you can easily understand this. Okay. So you are going to prepare this Excel sheet. Now the next is RTM. RTM is nothing but it is a requirement traceability matrix which contains the requirement ID. Again, you can see that uniquely identify this requirement. So the requirement ID, then the requirement and how many test cases you have written for this username field. And the result is whether it is result is pass or a fail, right? If anything test case gets failed, say for example, I just mentioned here this red color. So this particular test case gets failed. So this the result should get failed. But all cases are passed. But all cases are passed. Okay, even the single test case gets failed means entire test cases gets failed. Try to understand this. Entire test cases gets failed. Okay, and this is what the RTM. So RTM stands for it is a requirement traceability matrix. It is a mapping between the requirement and test cases. So we can easily map that. Okay, for this particular requirement, how many test cases you have written? Oh, okay, for the password field you have written 6 test cases, means it's correct. For the OK button you have written 3 test cases. Okay, for the cancel button you have written 1 test case. Perfectly right. So how many test cases you have written for the login window? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? 6 and 6 is 12, 13, then 13 and then 14, 15, 16 and 17 test cases I have written. So, okay, fine. This 17 test cases you have written. Correct. So I can easily understand and you have already worked on. Means it's correct. So the requirement is user requirement, right? User requirement, password, OK button and cancel button. And we are getting some ID. Requirement ID, username 1.0. Requirement ID, password 2.0. Requirement ID, OK button underscore 3.0. Right? Then the requirement ID for the cancel button, it's 4.0. So this is how we can get the IDs over there. In the specification doc, we will get the ID. Don't worry about it. We will get that ID. And based on that ID, only we can write it down this the requirement and the test cases. So everyone has understood this. What is this RTM? Take a snapshot of this RTM. You are going to prepare RTM tab, then the test cases tab, then the defect report tab. Okay, just take a snapshot of this RTM. Then take a snapshot of this the test case template. Prepare it this test case template. Now you are going to start with the practical approach. Open an Excel sheet and then start writing this, the creating this RTM, test cases, and the defect report. Take a snapshot of a defect report as well. So all of you have understood, team?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. So you are going to prepare these test cases, right? This template should get ready within a 15 minutes. Now it's 4:30, quarter to 5, it should get ready this template with RTM, test cases, and DR. That is a defect report. And take a snapshot of this, the login window, right? You should get with the login window, right? So this is what the requirement, like this is requirement 1. I can call this as a requirement 1. This is R1, requirement ID 1. Okay, so this is what the username. So I can say that it is requirement ID underscore username underscore 1.0. This is requirement ID, team. See, now you people can easily understand this. Now again, for this password field, I can give the requirement ID. Take a snapshot of this also, team, for your reference. So requirement ID, 1 minute, sorry, it's requirement ID underscore password PWD underscore, it's 2.0, 2.0. Then OK button and cancel button, same like that. Okay, it's 3.0 for OK button and 4.0 for cancel button. Okay, this is how you have to assume that there is a login window. Now next, everybody has understood, clear?
Yes, sir.
Everyone,
Yes, sir.
39
Yes,
people
sir.
Yes, sir.
or 38?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, now you can start to prepare this Excel sheet first. Then how to write it down the test cases, I think that you might get a clear picture or little bit picture about this, how to write it down the test cases. So don't worry about it. I will tell you what is a test case design, right, and what is a test execution, that we will discuss later on. First, you people have to go and create this, the template first. The template should get ready. Okay, this template should get ready. Once it gets ready, then we will start with the testing activity, actual testing, how to perform this, how to write it down the test cases and all for this login window. Okay, we will do that. Clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay, then fine. So we'll catch you at quarter to 5. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay, fine.